What is going on, guys and girls? How doing today? It's Single Roleplay here once again, and the developer manifesto is finally there. And I've been waiting it yesterday for the entire fucking several hours, and just never happened. And it was released just about 5-6 hours ago. So yeah, it happened way deep into the night. So let's check it out. And I can say that it's probably the most depressing NERFHAMMER I've ever seen, because it hurts once again the builds that didn't really deserve the nerf, and the buffs that are happening to the boss are great, but it didn't really mean to nerf so much to the other aspects of Path of Exile. So let's take a look really quick over this shit. I've read over this in the morning just to have the basic understanding of what's happening. First of all, of course, the bows and other ranged attack is getting a buff. Many changes, damage changes. Mirrored Archer is getting a nerf, actually. Number of bow uniques being reviewed. Point Blank has been nerfed from 50 to 30%, but the penalty to the ranged will going from 50 to 30 less as well, so it's kind of a little buff and a nerf at the same time, just not as insane for the absolutely close ranged projectile skills like the Molten Strike, for example. It definitely helps. So the Hero's Ire and the Cold Stacking bows are nerfed. The large amount of added damage for these two items was too great and to increase for too little investment. More item modifier changes are noted below. So yeah. Not sure about how much though changes are coming to the cold staking bows, and Hero's Ire is getting a nerf. That's definitely, I saw that coming, because the Hero's Ire was practically the best bow based chest in the game, and it just couldn't go on like this, because everyone and then grandmother used this and the cold staking bow. There's practically two things that were used on any fucking bow character, and definitely it needed a change. So the bases has the bow bases are changing for more attack speed and more crit multiply. This is a good thing. And the wands and the bow bases are also getting the increased attack speed, which is also great, by the way. It gives a little more viability to the wand attack based kinetic blast getting a buff, by the way. Ranged attack totem has been rebalanced and renamed to ballistas. There will be more changes tomorrow. One base type damage vaults has been improved, and many of the above changes, as well as the new barrage support, will affect vaults. We won't be making significant one specific changes this league, as we want to do this as part of the more complete archetype package. That's nice. Now over to the minions. So the weighting of minion mods on account walking wands has been lowered, making it harder to roll a great minion wand. I don't think this is a good idea, because I got like hundreds of convoking wands in this league, and I practically didn't get anything good. The good convoking wands are incredibly hard to get, and I practically didn't get anything good out of hundreds of wands that I crafted. So making it even harder, I can personally justify this change. Minion movement speed increases on the passive trait Necromantic has been lowered. Okay. Both the damage and the buff of the Feeding Frenzy support had their values lowered, as the support was providing too much damage. Even if the player didn't want aggressive minion, the support was too powerful not to use. Absolutely agreed. I actually saw that coming. A couple of days ago, I already mentioned that Feeding Frenzy was one of the leading problems with the minion builds, making them so extremely overpowered, because zombies and skeletons were on absolute steroids, and Feeding Frenzy was the reason for this. Well, I saw that coming. Raised zombies had too much damage and life for a small investment. They've been lowered in power slightly in several ways: lower base damage, lower area on the slam, no life multiplier per gem level, and then longer slam cooldown. Okay, so zombies got fucked pretty hard, and we're gonna see just how hard it is. We'll actually jump on standard after the patch hits and just see what happens with the zombies. Raised Spectre was too easy to get a third Spectre at Gem alone 21, especially with the Necromancer's natural strength. And the third Spectre is now grounded with Gem alone 25. Oh my god. Oh, 25 is a lot, actually. It will actually require Empower now. Wow, that's a fucking big nerf, guys. That's fucking big. Oh, alright. Non-damaging ailments then. Chill, Shock, and Freeze are mechanics intended to give identity to elements. To reliably apply a non-damaging ailment for the endgame boss, either huge damage hit would need to be applied or more likely a guaranteed effect like Chill, Shock, Ground, or Elementals become ruined. Yes. So what is happening there in general, like to give you the basic understanding, what about the non-damaging ailments, is that now you need to hit for less to apply at least 5%. So minimum shock is now 5% instead of 1%, making shock way more viable. And at the same time, the base shock effect and chill effect of some mechanics like shock ground has a minimum of 15%, which is also similar to the mechanic like Skitterbots, Necromancer's Corpse Pack, and Storm's Gift. So overall, all the shock and ailment mechanics has been improved, and at the same time the bleed mechanics is improving, which is, I guess, not mentioned here. So yeah, now it's based not on the target's life but more on different things, and it will dramatically help against bosses. So shocking and chilling bosses is way easier now, and I think it's a sort of fantastic change. Monster resistances, armor, and life. As the average character's damage has grown over time, we're going to be incrementally updating monsters' defenses to be more challenging. Oh, really? So this is like Diablo 3 happening right now, buffing the fucking mob life and resistance, just like in the Greater Rifts, actually. Alright, the resistance are going up. Regular mobs is 40 instead of 30, 25 chaos res. Shaper is 50 from 40, and more chaos res. That's pretty insane. Monster armor has been largely irrelevant beyond a very low level for a long time, reducing reasonable physical damage hits by almost nothing. To mirror the resistance changes on monsters by updating monster armor growth to this something that noticeably impacts physical damage characters. Wow, okay. For builds that are most affected by this change, we'll be adding a new stat you can invest in that lets hits bypass the amount of physical damage reduction on enemies. This stat has enemies as minus total physical damage reduction against your hits. This can reduce physical damage reduction below 0%, unlike resistance penetration stats. This will be found on various weapon notables on the passive tree as well as a few small clusters. This stat will also apply to physical damage reduction from other sources like end-rune charges and map modifier. Oh, so the end-rune charges for the jug can pretty much penetrate a lot of fizz resistance, I guess. That's good. I think that's this is not bad, but there's one big fucking problem, guys, which makes it harder to delve for the physical-based characters. Pretty much, you know, that actually stack some toughness, like the Jags and the Gladiators, which stack armor, and it will do absolutely nothing for characters that don't give a shit about toughness, like the Scourge guys with fucking Raiders, which have nothing on them and just a shit ton of evasion. So it's a big disbalance between the evasion and the armor-based classes, in my opinion. This is pretty bad. Impale is significantly affected by the higher armor values because of how its damage is dealt. Impale isn't directly affected by your modifier, so it doesn't benefit from the stat mentioned above. Instead, some Impale passive and the Impale support will cause Impale the plot to give monsters minus fizz damage reduction against Impale. Okay. So Impale also reduces the fizz damage reduction. The life of all unique monsters in the game has been increased by 10%. On top of this, we've re-evaluated the life of all bosses in the campaign, with some of them getting considerable life buffs. Holy shit. Some of their bosses, particularly early on, have had their existing skills improved. Okay. Map boss life has been greatly increased at the highest tier maps. you know, scales much more linearly towards higher tiers rather than jumping suddenly in tier 60. And notable bosses like the Elder now have significantly more life, as they're not only following the late map progression. Special bosses like Azuri have their life adjusted to match the new non-boss monsters in maps. Also, the tier life increase. Alright, so all boss life has been finally increased. That is a good thing. Certain skills and supports were too prevalent while leveling, allowing players leveling new characters to advance too quickly while not rewarding players using skills appropriate to the final build. Orb of Storms, Lightning, Spy Trap, Onslaught Support, Smoke Mine, and Storm Blast Mine are being reduced in power at low levels, but will be around as effective in the late game. Okay, so this is aiming towards the speedrunners. Modifier adjustments. As Elder and Sheep items will now be harder to obtain, and a large number of new mods have been added to the new Influence mod pools, we've taken this opportunity to go back and re-evaluate the power of various mods that have been added over the years for the Elder Sheep Influence mod pool, the Fossil mod pool, as well as the Veil mod pool. The goal of these changes is to have fewer must-have modifiers that outclass the all other mod alternatives, and not have the Shaper Elder Influence mod pools and multi-mod crafted items completely outclass the new influence types on some slots. Here are some of the changes made. Power has been lowered in some of the more impactful modifiers like call damage per 10 dex on both, and elemental damage as extra chaos. Ooh, shit. Okay. Some modifiers no longer appear on Shaper and Elder items, like the increased physical damage and socketed gems are supported by... This is Fortify? Peacock and Fortify? What? No, Fortify does no longer appear at all? Really? That kind of kills two-handers entirely. And it's not only about the Fortify, it's about two-handers in general, like the bows, guys. The 45 staff for the SRS, like the Cyclone. Most of the two-handed builds are fucking dead now. It's basically back to disfavors and fucking Starforges now. This is a terrible thing, it kills a lot of builds. They can have multiple crafted mods, has been changed now, granting can up to 3 crafted modifiers. Multi-mod crafting an item was proving too powerful for too low cost. Too fucking exalts, guys. Most noobs in the game will never have this. They will never multi-mod anything. Too low cost? You must be kidding me. This is I don't see the reason for that. I mean, multi-mod has been there, definitely it's powerful, but it's only for players who really need this power, who really have the currency to invest in this power. I mean, they killed the multi-mod now. Arc, Soul, Rain, Molten Strike, Shattering Steel, Lancing Steel, Venom Guard, and more have been buffed. This is a buff, okay. Icicle Mine's projectiles are now limited range, meaning they won't travel as far by default, and the projectile distance can be modified, so Icicle Mine has been nerfed. Skill enchantments that grant area of effect now grant higher values for the majority of cases. As pointless, Fortify and the buff from their Shattered will now give less damage taken rather than reduced damage taken, preventing cases where players were close to reaching 100% reduced damage taken. Okay, goodbye to the dense delving builds and all other unshattered will bullshit. But in 45 little pride gems, 45 little pride gems, guys, goodbye. Yeah, that's insane actually. Less damage taken, so 45 is pretty much in the dumpster. Reduced damage taken, less damage taken. What is less? Like, how much less is that? I think that more or less were also multipliers. I don't clearly get it. The wording is terrible in this. What does it mean, fucking less damage taken versus the reduced damage taken? Can you please be more fucking specific on this? This is bullshit. This is bullshit. Like, what exactly? How much is this? Alright, guys. So, all in all, I can say that this is a very depressing nerf. I'm not pissed at the minions. I absolutely agree in the minion nerf because it was absolutely crazy. Minions were dominating way too much, especially the zombies, and the feeding frenzy was absolutely ridiculous. Convoking Vance, I do not agree on this. I think it was fine. It was incredibly hard to roll a good Convoking Vance. Like I said, I had hundreds of this, and I haven't rolled anything good, like maybe 2 rolled plus 1 minion gems, and the rest were like complete trash. Very hard to get anything good. For the elements, fantastic change, makes it more viable outside of the elementalist. This, I think it's kind of necessary, but once again, the monster armor will definitely hurt physical players, which mostly use physical skills and physical mitigation type, like the high armor, molten shell, and all that stuff. That really does impact delving for the tougher characters, but it doesn't do anything to the evasion based characters. But for the armor based characters, it's a pretty big thing. As for the leveling, I personally don't give a shit. This I think the biggest nerf here is definitely this. I honestly don't know what is happening with my builds because I have the SRS build with a 45. I wanted to do an earthquake build with a 45. I also have a toxic rain with the elder bow with the physical with the vicious projectiles. I'm not sure if it's still there, if it's still will be there on the bow. It's really hard to tell, guys. This is probably the biggest fucking nerf I've ever seen so far. This is devastating. It removes diversity from the game because it forces you to literally go and use the unique bows, unique weapons again, which are pretty much trash at this point. So I know it doesn't really add anything to the game. It really kills the diversity. So previously, if you didn't have the currency, you're a new player, you just go and get the Star Forge or Disfavor and just move your way forward with the melee. Or if you are a new player, you using Lioness Glare and play the Toxic Rain. If you have the currency, you can go and invest and craft yourself a good bow using vicious projectiles and a good multi-mod veiled bow. If you have the currency, you can craft yourself a sword with 45, multi-mod this, and you will be stronger. If you don't have the currency, you will always be stuck with some Disfavor or Starforge or I don't know, whatever. But now there's no options. You are back to fucking uniques that will be using for entire eternity. The entire millennia, you'll be using Disfavors and Starforges and Lioness Glare and Chainsaws and all this trash. This take us back to the past where we've been like 3-4 years ago. It doesn't move the game forward. It just pushes us back into the fucking prehistoric like Stone Age of using uniques for the entire content. The content became harder, but they are removing the powerful mods which are necessary to kill the content on a decent level. I can justify these changes, guys, and I will create a Reddit post justifying these changes or not, and I will definitely ask you to go and upvote if you agree with me. I will leave this in the comments below, so check it out. So far, this is my thoughts on this dev manifesto. I'm very surprised at the amount of nerfs, especially this. Like I said, the rest I kind of fine. I can justify the change to the multi-mod. I don't think it was necessary. Multi-mod was always powerful, existed since the beginning of times, but nerfing it right now I don't think is the right choice. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching and see you soon.